In this episode, we're going to continue experimenting with rotation, and we're going to start with this very simple program. And you see here we have setup and a draw function. In our setup, we are just setting the size 400 pixels wide and 400 tall, a quite dark background, almost black. I'm activating the smooth mode, so the lines are smoother. And I'm saying here I don't want any stroke, any border lines. And then on every frame of our animation, I'm just setting the color to white, and I'm drawing an ellipse. The ellipse is drawn it's 100 pixels from the left and 10 pixels from the top, and it's just 9 pixels wide and 9 pixels tall. Things we know already. So let's draw now a second ellipse, and I will make this one red. You can see it has full red value but no green and no blue, and I'm gonna copy this ellipse here, so it's gonna be drawn exactly in the same place, 100 pixels from the left and 10 pixels from the top. So both are one on top of each other, so you cannot see anymore the white ellipse. What happens now when I add here rotate function call, and I'm gonna rotate this a little bit, let's say 0.1 radians. This is the angle of rotation. Now you can see the red one is no longer on top, and that's quite curious because we have said until now that this 100 here was the distance from the left and this 10 is the distance from the top. But this is no longer exactly true. We have like a virtual display that is being rotated around the top left corner. Imagine a needle passing our paper on this corner here, and we are rotating the paper. So if I increase now the angle, you can see it moves, forming a circle like in this direction, down and curving to the left, which again is quite interesting because both are drawn exactly at the same position, 100 pixels from the left and 10 from the top. But we are rotating our whole screen before drawing. That's why they are not exactly in the same place. And I'm gonna copy now these 3 lines, and I'm gonna draw another circle. This one, instead of red, will be green. And again, same place and same amount of rotation. But the rotations are adding up. So at the beginning of our draw function, the rotation is 0. Now here I'm gonna write here, now the rotation of our screen is 0.2. And here, because I'm rotating the paper even further, now the rotation is 0.4. You see, we rotated the paper here a little bit, and now we rotate it even further. Let's see how this looks like. So you can see that we have 3 points that should be exactly one on top of each other, but because we are rotating the paper, or this virtual paper, then the location is not exactly the same. I will just add one more, so to make sure you get the idea. Again, I will rotate this screen even further, so now the rotation will be 0.6. And I will make this point blue so we can distinguish them from each other. Again, same location, same size. So you can see this is really rotating around the top left corner. The rotation is reset every time the draw function begins. So right here in the first line, the rotation is always 0. And then you can modify it. You can add here, you can add or subtract rotation. You can also rotate in the opposite direction. If you would say rotate minus 0.1, how much is rotation now? If it was 0.4, then now it should be 0.3. And let's check where our blue dot is now. So you can see it was rotation for the white dot was 0, for the red dot is 0.2, for the green dot is 0.4, and it jumps back to 0.3 because we removed a little bit of rotation. So let's try to make some interesting drawing with this. I'm gonna just delete most of the program. I'm just setting a white color, drawing the lips. I'm gonna add a variable at the beginning so we can be rotating slowly. So I will add this float variable. I will call it R, like from rotation, and it will be 0 at the beginning. And instead of adding rotating here a fixed 0.2, I will just say rotate R, which at the beginning is 0. The rotation I must do before drawing, otherwise you will not see the effect. But we can check that out too. I can show you if the rotation here is 0.3, and I rotate right now before drawing, you can see it's there. If I rotate after drawing, it will not have any effect because there's nothing below the rotate. If I would draw another ellipse, then you would notice it, but okay, let's leave it with 1. So again, we start with rotation 0, and we rotate here R, whatever that is, and at the end we increase R a little bit. So I will increase it 0.1. So on each frame of our animation, that means on each time draw is called, I will increase, it's not R, it's not 0.1, but it's R equals R plus 0.1. That's what I meant. So I'm making R a little bit bigger every time I execute draw. What happens now? Okay, now you can see it's drawing a circle because I'm adding rotation, so this dot is rotating continuously until it becomes a circle itself, because there are so many dots there. How could we modify this further? Well, instead of having always the same distance, 100 pixels from the left, we could increase this slowly, so it would kind of make a spiral. So it would be increasing all the time. Let's see how that works. We should increase this number here, this 100. So I'm gonna add here to the 100. We can add the same value, maybe 100 plus R. So the 100 will become 100,1, 100,2. So now let's see this running. Let's see how this distance from the left is increasing slowly. And there you can see it. It's rotating, and at the same time it's getting farther and farther from the top left corner. We could print our R variable with a print ln just to see how it's changing, just to keep an eye down here. So you can see now it's 10, 20. When this value gets to 300, we will probably be touching this corner here. Why is that? So because we are here at 100 plus R, you can see it here working. We start at a distance of 100. When R is 300, the total sum here will be 100 plus 300, which is 400, which is the width of our screen. And what else could we change to make it more interesting? Maybe we can change the size of our circles so they are not all the time 9 pixels wide and tall, but maybe something random. So I'm gonna make here a random variable like float circle size equals random, and let's use a value between 5 and 15. And then I just have to use this variable here, down here, for our ellipse, for the width and for the height. And let's see now what happens. So now we get this interesting pattern. Looks quite organic. Could be like an X-ray picture of something strange. Now let's do a little bit more experiments. What happens when we change this? This is the rotation speed. Before, on each frame, it was rotating 0.1 radians. Now I will make it rotate 0.2. And at the same time is the distance is the value we are adding to the distance. So it will now, everything will happen faster. You can see now the pattern is a bit different. And this R value, you can see down here, is increasing quite quick. We will get to the top right corner in a moment. So let's leave it here, and we will continue with more rotation experiments on the next episode. Then we can see how we can rotate things not just around the top left corner, but around other places.